Hello everyone, so today we're going to do some Indian ink. So we're going to learn some ink and we're going to learn about different shades of ink. We're going to do a value scale. I'm just going to explain a bit about ink and what it does. And I'm just going to go through the materials and then what you're going to need to practice. So ink this is a bottle I'm using, Dale & Rowney Indian ink. You can get ink in different colours, but black is the main colour and red is the main colours that they use for Chinese style ink. So ink dries, it's a bit like watercolour. It dries a lot quicker than watercolour. Colour dries instantly really, and it stains, and it does not come out of your clothes. It stains your hands, it stains your clothes, so be really careful. Make sure you wear an apron, you've got a cloth nearby. It's very runny. I've put a little bit in here, as you can see, and that is going to be, that's a lot. We only need 1 drop of ink. So we're going to mix it with water and we're going to do a value scale, because 1 little drop goes a really long way. So that's all you need to use. I'm just going to get my other brushes just to show you. So we're going to use a few different brushes. So I've got, this is a size 8 round, but this has got a sharp tip on it. So that's what you want really, it's one with a sharp tip and a fat belly, so you can use both sides of the brush. This is another one. This is an 8 as well, slightly different shape. This one is a smaller round one, but it hasn't got a big belly, but it's good for details. And this is a Chinese brush, so this holds a lot of water and it spreads out as well, so you can use it for both. So I'm gonna show you both of them. Okay, put them here. You want a paper towel and you want to fold it as thick as you can really. So I folded it in thirds again and in half, and you may even want to do it again, but you want it to be quite thick so that it doesn't go through. Okay, so, or you can just use a normal cloth, which I use tea towels, which I shouldn't do, but I do. So that's that. Okay, so we have the Indian ink. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting some ink in the ink well. So you can use a pipette to pick it up and drop it in. I'm going to use a straw just to drop it in. That's it. So you probably don't want that much, but you want enough. Okay. Just cleaning the bottom of the straw. Okay. So now you want to do your water. So let's see if we can do it this way. We'll try. That's it. So you've got 1 dot there. So depends on the amount of water that you put in, depends on your value scales. So I'm just going to put 2 lots in here. We can add some more water afterwards. I'm going to take some out of this one, put in here. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a value scale first, and we're going to just use pure ink. Okay, so let's put this in so you can see. That's it. So I'm going to wet my brush and I'm just going to dry it on the paper towel. Okay, so this is going to be pure black ink. Okay, so That's very dark. Okay, so that is black. So I'm going to add it to the water. Okay, so depending on how much water you add depends on what colour it's going to go. Okay, so I'm just going to rinse my brush off and then mix that in. So that's quite watery. Okay, so I'm going to do this one, put a bit more ink. I think this we're going to do it from darkest, so we'll do, this can be the darkest. Okay, so this is still dark, but it's got quite a bit of water in it, so let's put another layer in so you can see it. Okay, and paper towel. So now this one, I'll put a bit more water in this one. Okay, so we're going to put some ink from there to there. Okay, so this one's going to be a bit lighter because it's got more water in it. Okay. Let's put some more water in this one. Okay, so this one's got a bit more water in. Mix that one up in there. So this is quite watery too. That looks very similar to the other one. Let's do a darker one. So let's take a bit of that water out. Right, let's take that out there. Right, let's put a bit more in there. Okay, so this one is darker because we've used less water. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up. Oh. You can see the different scales. Some's black, some's darker, and it depends on how much water you use. And it's just knowing which ones are in here as to which ones you're going to use, okay? Okay, so this is our value scale that we've done, okay? So we can keep that so we know, we'll keep that up here. So we know what our colours are. Okay, so we're just knowing your strength of your ink really and knowing which one is the strongest and, you know, the one with the most water in, and that makes a difference as to what colours that they come out. Okay, so we're going to just learn some brush strokes now. So I'm going to use this brush. So this is a size 8 round one, and it's got a tip on it, which, can you see that? Okay, it's got a shot, which makes all the difference, because so you can press down. So we're going to use a small piece of paper for our swatches. Okay, now I'm going to use just ink on its own, and you're going to hold the brush completely dead straight. Okay, so and do some lines down, and then if you press harder, okay, so rinse your brush out and your paper towel. So now we're going to use a washed out one, which this one's quite washed out. I'm going to use a bit more water in this one. It's good to see how much water you've got. You can tell by looking that this one has the most water in. Okay, so So you've got lighter and darker depending on your ink, strength of your ink. Okay, so when you do yours, make sure you put yours in order so you know that the strongest to the weakest. Okay, so we're now going to learn to do some strokes where you press down and lift off. So you're going to press down the belly and twist and lift up. Okay, so you're going to, let me go zoom in so you can see. That's it. Let's move this over. Okay, so you want to start on the top, press down and lift up. Looks a bit like a pepper. Okay, so you're going to press down, turn and lift up. Okay, so then you can do, once you brush out, okay, now I'm going to do lighter. There you go, so this is going to be your lighter one, and then I'll do a medium one. Okay, so this will be good practice to just keep trying to practice your brush strokes and how to hold the brush. Okay, I'll do some in between. Okay, okay, so that's some good practice for some brush strokes, which we're going to do. As you can see, that's drying already. So the big strokes are dry, the little ones are drying, and then these ones here are drying. But the top ones that we did are dry already. So it dries really quickly. Once it dries, you cannot go back into it again and add water. So you can't add water to reactivate like you can with watercolours. Once it's dry and that's it. Okay. So that's these ones, and then we're going to use some other strokes now, some brush strokes. Okay, so we're going to use ink, full ink here. Right, so we're going to do some lines like this. Okay, and now you're going to use your brush on the side. So it's going to go from here down. Okay. So it's a bit of a broken line. If you clean the brush and add a watery one that's got less pigment in, you can see how it dries. Okay, so you can dry brush as well. So dry brushing is when you put the ink on and you just rub it off onto the paper towel. So there's still ink on there, but it shows what texture, you've got more texture. So if I go to this, you can see that put a pure ink on it, and then I'm going to wipe it on the paper towel and get the ink off. Okay, so you can see the different textures that you can get, okay, from ink. So I'll leave that one to dry. So go back to the value scale so you can see now the different colours. And that's really dark, that one. So these are very similar, these ones. That one's like a bit darker and that's really dark. So you can see by looking. If you put these in the right order of your palette, then you'll get to know which one's which, and you should mark this one so you know which one is your pure ink. Okay. So we're just going to practice doing a few lines. Okay, so this is going to be like a tree line, so I'm going to do it, I think I'll do it long way so you can see it better, like that. That's it. Okay, so we're going to start with the tip of the brush at a 90-degree angle so that the tip's touching the paper. Okay, so I'm just going to come do a tree. So I'm pressing it down, lifting it up, pressing it down, lifting it up towards the end. Okay, so back over again. Okay, so just on the tip. It's amazing how much of a thin edge you can get on that tip. I'm just going to do... Okay, so that's going to be our tree. Okay, so that's going to be for our blossoms. So it's got a few little spiky branches coming out, which I'm going to put in. It's kind of a bit of a knot here, and it's not trying to be too perfect with it, it's just trying to let the brush do what it wants to do. Okay, so I've washed that brush out. I'm now going to use a smaller brush. So let's get a smaller brush. Okay, so let's see what I've got here. So this is quite small, this one. I'm going to use this, so hopefully it will spread the bristles out a bit. So I'm going to try, it might be too skinny, we'll see. Right, okay, so let's get a light one. Okay. This is just like a shadow. I'm just going to put a shadow in the background. So you can see this is quite dry now. I'm going to put shadow around the back here, like this. So you can see that's like texture. You can see the texture underneath the brush. Okay. Right, so I'm now going to... Okay, so we're just going to do a bamboo painting. So just with bamboo leaves. So I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to use pure ink. Okay, but I'm going to use the side of my brush this time. So I'm going to lay it flat, and let's move this over a bit so you can see. That's it. Okay, so okay, so that's all we do for basic strokes. Okay, so the next bit we're going to do is we're going to do the lines for the bamboo. So I'm going to put some thin lines in for that. I'm going to go onto the tip. Okay. So let's do the lines first. Okay, like that. Okay, so then we're going to put some water in. Okay, take some off. We're going to use a light one to start with. Okay, so you're going to go on tiptoes, press down and lift off. Let's do a bit darker so you can see it a bit better. Okay, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that stroke. Press down and lift up. Press down, lift up. So by pressing down and lifting up, it'll give you a sharp edge. Press down and lift up. Okay, so that's a light one. So let's fill some more of these in. Press down and lift up. That's it. So these are the lighter ones, and then we're going to put some darker ones in as well. Okay, press down, lift up to the point. Press down, lift up. Okay, so that's the light grey ones. So we're then going to put some darker ones in. So I'm going to use some pure ink because it'll be darker. And see what we get now. So I'm going to go over one of them. Okay, so that's quite good for our bamboo. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a shape of some fish to show you what we're going to do. So I'm going to do like a round dolphin shape. Okay, so with water, just going to do a round shape like this. Okay, and now I'm going to add some pure ink into that. So that's why it's like watercolour. Okay, so I'm going to the tail the same way. Okay, so let's do the same thing with the other one. So let's put one around here. Okay, so let's give him a big tail. That. Okay, so now let's add the ink. Okay, so that spreads out lovely. So let's just help it along a bit. If you can drag it down a little bit. Okay. So we need to wait for that to dry really, because we don't want to add any more details to it until it's dry. But that is a wet in wet technique, so that is the same as watercolour, where you will put your patch of water first of all. Okay, let's do a little swatch. Okay, wet on wet this is, so it'll only go in that box that's wet. So let's add the ink. So that's wet on wet, so we can do wet on dry. Let's do the wet on dry. That's the wet on dry. Okay. And then dry brush-ish, try and get all the water out of it. And now we're going to do dry on dry. So the drier it is, the more texture you get. Okay, you can see. So that's the same, it's the same as watercolour, because you've got two, you're still using water, but you can move the ink around a lot easier. So let's put on this one. So this one is wet on wet. Wet on dry. And this is dry on dry. Okay. Okay. So that's two different techniques. We can't move this really because it is really wet. I'm going to try and zoom in. There you go. So you can see where the ink's gone and where the water's gone. So we just need to wait for that to dry, and once that's dry I'm going to add some more details to it. I could use a very thin brush. I just don't want it to spread out too far, but we could add a little bit from this bit here where it's quite wet. I want to add a mouth really. I'm just going to add a mouth and some light whiskers, and it's also got some eyes, which I think there we go. So we're definitely going to have to wait for this to dry now. Okay, so let's come back up. Okay, so they are your tips and techniques that we've just done. We will be doing more in class, but I just wanted to just go over just a few different ones, just so you can have some reference cards when you do your own ones. So these were the fish that I did, and I've just put some colour swatches on the back and to practice some lines and some shapes. Okay, so we can put all these together in our colour swatches as well as our value scale. Okay, and we have some more here as well. So I'm hoping you can have fun with this. Just remember, it takes a little while to dry, but once it's dry it's permanent. Okay, so it will be, you can't activate it with water, so it will be permanent. You can't smudge it or anything like that once it's wet, which is good. So you need a little tiny bit, like a few drops. If you can use a pipette it would be better, because you can just put 1 drop in each and just add more water to each one. Okay, so I hope you get on really well. Looking forward to seeing what you create. And in class there'll be some more lessons, and we'll have some more reference photos for you as well to use. Okay, have fun. Bye.